So let's get started. I wanted to look at this one because there are some major flaws in this. And the fact that it's a finished piece, I love that. I love that you pushed and you finished. You got a background, you got a foreground, you got the character, you chose the colors, you chose light source. I'm very proud of you. But there are some issues that, even when rendered, are not forgivable. That means that there are issues that once you render them, they're forgivable. Okay, you can get away with certain lighting problems, like exactly how to shade clothing and stuff like that. That kind of stuff you can get away with, contour shading and lack of cast shadows. However, features, portraiture, anatomy, that stuff you will not get away with unless you've really like perfected a certain style, like the Lilo and Stitch art style from that one artist. He's like fucked up proportions, but they all look really good because he's exaggerated in the perfect spots and shrunken in the perfect spots. But certain things you cannot do because once you do them, it will look hella weird. So let me show you what I mean. Um, all right, let's take a look at this. Okay, what do we see here that is common between all these men? All these old men, there is a common factor. What is it? And how does it relate to this painting? Can anyone give me an example? Chris Sanders, is that who it is? The legs are another issue entirely. I'm talking about the face right now. Beard, no. Wrinkles, no. Facial features, no. Big nose, no. Keep at it though. Keep looking. Low mouth. TZ, thank you. Old males. Mouth, nose. Yeah, distance between the mouth and the nose. The folds, bigger nose, saggy. Shades under the eyes fall down. That's another one. So those are the two that I wanted. The distance between the eyes. Those are the ones that I'm going to be pointing at. The sunken in cheeks and the eye bags and the distance between the mouth and the nose. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is not forgivable. And this is super low quality. Why do you do this to me? Adjustments, image size. Jeez, I'm not going to steal your work. Just give me a better size. Filter, sharpen. I guess that'll work. I don't know. I had to size it up myself. So, all right. Let's fix this. The lip shape is beautifully done. It's just the distance is way too big. And that distance, the severity of that distance has caused, has projected an age with it. Has told us that she is from this age group. Because as artists, if there are certain signifiers that I always talk about, and these cannot be shared between ages, they're specific to the age. If you do share them before, after, I still need to fix it, like, just give me a sec. If you do share them, what will happen is your character will have old features and will start looking old, despite you thinking it looks young. Basically, you get into a tunnel vision and it's really hard to get out, and it will look old. It won't look old to you, but it will look very old. So wait a second. Let me get my brush. Let me start using my brush because I can't do this with, it's way too low res. Alright, so we're getting rid of that. You don't need exaggerated lights between the nose. Exaggerated shadows, sorry. Connect the cheeks together with one shade. Give the lips, older lips are thinner than younger lips, so give these lips a little more fullness. What else about the chin is breaking the feminine? Does anyone know? Can anyone point to it? What else is breaking the feminine about this? Cheeks black light, right? It's not all about it's just a concept from the cheeks. What is that shadow under nose bridge from the hair? But the res needs to be 300 dpi. Also, chin should be rounder. Yes, Minnie. Square, way too big. Square, 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 square. Exactly. What is it that tells us how to design a face? What is that thing I always talk about that is specific to female and cuteness and beauty? What is that thing that I always talk about? Can anyone point to it? So if you notice the issue in your painting and you go into liquify or you get your paintbrush and you're trying to adjust it, how do you around what grid line, around what um, guide do you guide yourself? Around what do you adjust it? The triangle. Thank you, everyone. I love you guys so much. The triangle is basically how I'm guiding myself right now. I'm looking at the eyes. I'm seeing the relativity of the nose to the eyes and the relative size of the mouth to the eyes. And I'm trying to give the lips a little more fullness. I need to flip the canvas one more time. And already we're seeing a much more feminine face. It's much more cute. And then we can get on to the other issues. So this is why I say don't work on masterpieces, because you're just going to face these endless mistakes that are really hard to fix. And these mistakes are terribly obvious if you haven't studied enough and you're trying a masterpiece. These mistakes are instantly obvious. So in order to further the softness of the female face, you need to bring in some softer contouring, so show less chiseling, meaning less bone structure, less testosterone, all that stuff that I talk about. Cheekbones and high points, the highlights, those areas get the light. Tip of the nose. And now the eyes can barely change. The eyes can still keep their style. There's just less of that excessive. I'm not sure what inspired you, what reference you were using, but please be aware of the facial tropes in portraiture before you attempt a masterpiece. This is why I say just study. Or okay, fine. You want to do a masterpiece. All right, I give in. Do masterpieces. But do some studies before the masterpiece. Do some preparation studies. At least prepare yourself for what it is you have to deal with. So do a gesture line, fill a paper up with gesture lines that you're going to be doing for the painting and choose between them. Practice a little bit on the exact kind of face you want to use or paint. Find some references and lay them all in one big just layout on Photoshop and call it preparation document, whatever. And you always go to that when you feel lost and you feel like you're deviating too much away from what the design was originally intended to be. The neck was also extremely masculinated, so soften that up. So again, I'm not sure what reference you used. I wish that you guys really understand what it is that I say when I say stop trying to do masterpieces. But again, if you want to, go ahead. Just at least practice what it is you're going to be doing in those masterpieces. So there's always going to be studying required. Always. Alright, so that's done. Does everyone want to see the before and after? Alright. How was the neck too masculine? The neck was masculine because it had excessive tendons and it seemed like it was really built. The muscles, you have muscles on your neck. So look up any bodybuilder and compare their neck to a feminine neck of some girl, some Instagram chick. You'll see the difference in their necks. You'll see that one neck is more stated, more masculine, and really, really muscly and built. And the female neck doesn't really have all of that. Yes, she is in that kind of position, and her neck would probably be a little rippled, but there's only so much you can get away with, again, before completely going over the edge. You have a smaller margin in painting and cartooning before it's too late. Do you know what I mean? when it's too late when you place that line in right here. This line, it's already too late. You've made her look old. And in photography, we have these lines day in, day out in photography. No one notices because it's a photograph of something real. But in art, the margin for forgiveness is smaller, so you don't get away with it. If you place this line here, these happen all the time in people's faces. You don't notice them in real life. You notice them, yeah, if you like look harder. Even in young people you have these. And they don't look old. But again, this is a painting. So these tropes push further. And you don't get away with it. And just like the distance between the nose and the mouth, that happens in real life. You can have people who have a distance between their nose and their mouth that's a bit larger, who don't have to be old. But again, the margin is smaller in painting and drawing, and you don't get away with it. The forgiveness is very, very low. So this is going to be a bit of a difference from where we had it before. But I hope you see the difference. Before, after. Before, after. It's very, very difficult to get away with it. And trust me on that. It's not easy to get away with breaking those kinds of rules. And you can avoid these kinds of rules. You can avoid breaking them. You can avoid ever having such a mistake if you just spend some time studying. And if you don't know how to study and you have no idea what to do, where to start finding a way to get some education. Maybe join a figure drawing group. Maybe have some artists really just scrutinize your work. Don't wait for the next time you draw a masterpiece to get a critique. Get a critique on your studies. There's a reason why I'm always there on the Google community staring at your work and looking at these critiques that you guys give each other. It's an amazing community. You guys, you need this. If you want to improve, you need a community, period. You will not improve without a community. Because you need other people's input. You need other people to interrupt your slump, your tunnel vision, whatever it is that's causing you to draw bad. You need someone to pick you out, help pick that out, and point out where your issues are, and take you out of that. So if you're waiting for the next time you have a critique, for the next time you draw a masterpiece to have a critique, and someone tells you, dude, you need to start looking at some beauty tropes and start studying some beauty tropes, you're not going to improve. You're going to be like this for the next 10 years. And I'm being honest with you. I've seen some people who draw the same exact way they drew when I first started doing these live streams. People that have not improved even in the smallest bit since 3 or 4 years ago. Because they just don't, they're too afraid. They're too afraid to get feedback. They're so afraid of it that they avoid it altogether. And in avoiding it altogether, that cowardice, I'm sorry, I'm going to call it cowardice, that cowardly fear has led them to zero improvement. If you want to enlarge your muscles at the gym, do you go to the gym? Yes, you do. Do you hurt yourself? Yes, you do. Do you feel the pain afterwards? Yes, you absolutely do. That's the only way you'll see results. You have to just, let go of your baby, kill your baby. I'm sorry to say it like that, but that's basically what it is. Don't spend hours and hours and hours on a masterpiece and spending a week or 2 weeks just so that someone can tell you, dude, just go study how to draw hands. This hand is completely small. All right? So, I cannot stress enough, please do some studies. If you want to do the masterpiece, fine. Again, I submit. Do the masterpieces. Just do them with studies that come hand in hand with the masterpiece. Say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to start this masterpiece. Today I'm just going to practice how I'm going to draw the face. I'm going to practice the hand. I'm going to decide what gesture I want, what kind of background I like. Instead of everything happening freestyle all at the same time, I want to practice it and study it and avoid these issues altogether. Before, after. So that's one. Number 2 is the body. The body has some major issues with it. First issue is the relative size of the upper body compared to the lower body. So I know you want to have that kind of like that Chun-Li thunder thighs kind of thing going, but But again, there's only so much you can get away with visually before it starts looking bad. You literally just had to do that. She can have legs as long as a CN tower. It's okay. You can get away with that. Length is something you can get away with as long as it's proportionate. Also, this knee, because this foot is facing this way, this knee needs to face this way. It's not always fun and games with art. It's not always I'm going to have fun and call myself an artist and draw this masterpiece and that's it. I deserve the title of artist. There's a great amount of studying. With any school of thought, with any given topic, there is studying required. And if you don't do the studying, what will happen is you will not improve. You will not succeed. Success is what you're risking. Why even bother trying to draw if you're intentionally risking your success? Avoiding studies is you risking your success in this topic. If you're fighting your parents, if you're fighting your community, if you're fighting your siblings and you're comparing their career to yours and you've chosen art and you're under all this stress to be an artist and they expect you to make money and they expect you to prove it that this can be a real career. If all of that is at stake, if your future is at stake, you're threatening the stability of your job, you're threatening all of that. You're threatening your dream if you're not working hard. And I know all that sounds super harsh, but that's the reality of it. There are some students who have to fight their parents to deserve the right or to deserve the opportunity to be artists. And if you're not doing studies that are real and serious, you're not going to have the improvement that'll get someone to say, hey, come work for me, I'll give you money. And take that first paycheck and stick it in your parents' faces like I did. So please, 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 just try to consider studying. Just consider it. I know I've said this enough tonight, but it hurts me when I see such tiny little mistakes that could, well, they're not that tiny, they're tiny in proportion, I guess, but they're pretty big if you're going to be a portrait artist or a character artist. You cannot get away with not knowing what age signifiers are. You have to get used to what makes a face Asian, what makes a face Russian. You have to know what makes a face male, what makes a face female. Did I say face Russian? If you want to learn all of that, you gotta study, and that's it. Again, if you don't know how to study, there is tutoring available. There are classes available. There's this for you guys, this free session. There's all kinds of stuff available out there. If you don't know where to start, they will show you where to start. Just choose your teachers wisely. Don't go around expecting a miracle out of them. All right, before anatomy issues and trope issues. I'm not even talking about color because the color is just fine. I'm not going to talk about horizon and perspective because that's just fine. There is much perspective anyway. I'm not going to talk about composition because you seem to be doing very well with the composition. It could be a little bit more organized. The swirl here could have been made to really push the golden ratio a little bit better. But I'm not focused on that. I'm just going to focus on these major issues that you've dressed up. You've basically brought me your first study or second or maybe 10th, maybe 11th, even if it was your 50th time you've painted a face, you've basically dressed it up. All right? You've basically dressed up your 50th facial study. That's not enough. Start dressing them up when it's like your 1000th. After a year and doing like 3 studies each, maybe at that point, three studies a day, maybe practicing. Yeah, at that point, start doing those masterpieces. Start proving me wrong. Start telling me, yo, fuck you, Istebrak. I don't need any more studies. I can do this masterpiece, so suck it. I'll happily suck it. I'm not going to happily suck. I'm just saying, God damn it. I'm just saying, at that point, you can say, I'm not doing any more studies because I've done enough. At this point, I want to practice. I want to test myself. But before that, please, stop dressing up your studies. If you have to, for some reason, school, whatever, you have to draw a masterpiece, study before you do the masterpiece. Cast shadows are thinned out the further they get from the object casting them, and sharper the closer they get. So over here, I'm not even looking at the comment section because you guys are going to talk about the suck it comment, and I'm not even, I don't even want to know what you guys are saying. So this thigh shadow over here is getting thinner, and it needs to wrap around the actual form of the thigh. So it can't just stop here. It stops somewhere out here. And where do you go to learn such knowledge of form studies and cast shadows? Oh, I know. Form studies. Yeah, give yourself an opportunity where you're just studying form for form's sake. For no other reason. Just for form. I might have to take this thigh into liquefy because the knee is a bit... Ista, do you think the world needs more art instructors? Absolutely. The fact that I'm one of the only girls on YouTube that's teaching art and one of the only people on YouTube who are critiquing scares me. Where is everybody then? Where is everybody going to get some knowledge? What you're gonna pay $5,000 a year for school? Are you fucking kidding me? That's a business. It's not school. You're not gonna learn shit. You're not gonna learn squat. You're not gonna learn unless you're going there to learn how to run electricity through a house. At that point, yeah, you can really apply that to real life. But don't fucking waste your money on school, on that business. That's crap. That's corporate. That's corporate lies. It's an industry. It's not. Unless you're actually going to really utilize the information they teach you. If you're going to go there to study how to use Maya and 3ds Max, of course you need school for that. You need a real instructor to show you the mechanics. When it comes to stuff you can study at home, you're basically paying someone to study at home. You're paying someone, you're paying to study something you can be doing at home and doing it very well. You're wasting your time doing these stupid projects about social relations and taking electives you don't even need just so that they can reach their yearly income quota, forcing you to take classes that have nothing to do with your major, just so that they have an excuse to charge you some more money. The world needs more art instructors. And okay, fine, you can pay them too. It's just at least you're using your money properly. At least you're using your money in a way where it really is really fruitful in your life. Investing your money properly. There's 101 things we need to learn from other people. It's not always something we're going to learn on our own. But don't go spending thousands and thousands of dollars on some degree that's never going to do anything for you. Stay home and study. I know that sounds really messed up because, you know, I need school, I need money, and my parents aren't going to support it, all that stuff. And I never said an artist's journey was easy. I mean, I went through my own crap, and I didn't take art in school at all. So there's not much I can say, and I don't know every single one of you individually. But again, just if you don't know where to start in your studies, find an instructor and use your money wisely. Don't throw your money at every opportunity to learn something. Alright, so these shadows need to be a little bit cooler. I'm going to, instead of cooling down by going up to the purple, which is something you guys do, which you should stop, I'm going to cool down by going down into the red and going back up here. This red and this red are the exact same red. The red that's closer to the cools, that's where I need to push down on that. It's still in the red, it's nowhere near the purple, but it's got way more purple than what you had before. Compare. This is what you had before. This is what you have now. More purple without even going to the purple zone. You've traveled through the red, and red has some purple in it. It's all some big gradient. And I'm just throwing that over the shadows very gently, just so that they can cool down a little bit. Okay, you've got some purples on the lower parts of the shirt. I'm going to throw that everywhere. Because you want to unify. You don't want to bring in too much of a rainbow. There's a wash that you always should have in your painting, a general color that's just the leading color, the governing color, that all the colors pull from, that you pull all the colors from. Okay, and the inner part of this coat needs to be lit up because the ground is in the way, and then there's the fog and the sand and the dust. So you might want to just light up that little bit on the inside. I'm just adding that purple in. Okay. Now, as for so I looked at it through the gender character design perspective. Now I'm going to look at it as a form structure. I'm going to treat it as a form study instead of treating it as a human. I'm going to stop treating it as a human and treat it as one big form. I'm going to forget that it's a female character that exists. What you need to do is start casting, not just casting some shadows, but shading around a specific light source in this image. So this image has a light source that's revealing all of this, right? So you can't say there is no specific light source. I've heard that a lot from students. Oh, there is no specific light source. There is no specific. Well, there's something, because I'm seeing this character, aren't I? So there's a light revealing some of this whole image. Where's this light coming from? Which direction? Because if you know where this direction is, you know you have to illuminate what you can illuminate. So if the light is coming from the top down, specific to her, so the background has its own light, we need to show where the shadows start tapering off. So I'm just going to throw one big dark color over the jacket so I can show you what I mean. I'm going to erase away where the areas where the light touches, and those areas are going to go. And what we're going to see is a build-up in the form. We're going to see the form build up slowly. And that'll speak in a much better read. It'll have a much better read for the form. And this is no longer about portraiture now. This is no longer about beauty tropes. This is just specifically about form structures. Form for the sake of form. Stuff you learn doing form studies. So now I'm going to erase away what I don't need. And it's only supposed to be the areas that are most exposed to the light. So from the shirt down, no. Okay, and then that down this way. And then just the tops of those fingertips and the tops of the knuckles. Now redo that. So just the very tips of those, the high points of the valleys, and I mean the mountains of the fingers and the knuckles. So this is just using light sparingly. The face is a bit orange, it's a bit Dodge tool face. And now I'm going to illuminate the shirt, but only in the brightest area. And you'll see before, after. Do you see that added form? She looks more three-dimensional, less flat. This is because we've preserved the high points and that light shade only where we need it. Now she looks really three-dimensional. You want to push it, bring in some secondary light source. Illuminate the sides of her back. As if the background, again, that sunlight in the background is casting some light on her. And create that clash. Okay. Any questions at all? Get the rims of the hair. Then you'll get light on the shoulders, so it'll be like light. You actually have to drop tool the background color in this case. The light will sit on the shoulders, sit on the sides, sit on the neck, on the sides of the cheek. Like this, on the sides here, on this little rod or handle. You can do that, or you can make the light source come mainly from Spain. I'm sorry. You can make it come mainly from the chosen light source here. Let me just undo. Yeah, it's still very, very bright altogether. before, after. This is all stuff that can be avoided. All right. Yes. Okay. So Fergus or whoever painted this, please respond to me on Facebook so that I can send this back to you. Or message me on Facebook. The light on the blade is kind of confusing me. Yeah, the light on the blade was very, very off, but I don't have time to cover that as well. Shouldn't her hip be higher? There's a lot of stuff that should be and could be in that painting, but I don't have time to cover all of it. The best thing to do is see how much you can get away with on your own, and then see how much you need a reference for. I don't know if that place you posted. Great job. Panic, we have quality adjuster. I'll be back. What we'll do. Thanks, just an idea. I know my stream froze. Yeah, it's a miracle. Same. Can you guys hear me okay? It's quality slider acquired? Did it just pop up? No way. Did it just pop up? I leveled up? No freaking way. No way. Yay. How many viewers do we have? I think 100 is like a ballpark. I think if you get like an average, I think they'll let you. I'm not entirely sure. But I'm happy that you guys can adjust the quality now. Let's look at this cutie pie. This is from an artist who regularly submits, and the reason why I critique a lot of her work is because she submits to me finished stuff, and everything that she submits to me has the previous corrections on it. So I really see that she's improving. I don't know if it's a she or a he, but I really see the improvement. So that's why I always give this artist some time in the critique hour. Alright, so one big thing that I see is the fact that this thigh here, the side of it needs to be visible. Because remember, thighs are like cubes. What's wrong with this? Alright, they're a cube in nature. So if we're looking at the 3/4 view version of this body, we're seeing the side. Just like this. So we're seeing the side of this and the side of this here. So what you did before was what you forgot about the 3/4. You forgot about the third dimension. You forgot about all of that form study stuff. So you see, guys, form studies underlie anything you're ever going to draw. You guys can draw, throw something random at me. You guys can draw a basket full of, you're going to need to have some form study background, some knowledge on basic shape rotation. Being able to rotate a cube in your mind and understanding that from this perspective, this cube has this angle looking at me. So I'm going to see this face and this face and this edge. And then from this angle, I'm not going to see an edge because I'm looking perfectly at it. So anywhere else on this body, if you just think about it as a cube, you'll be able to know where to place some light. So if the light is coming down this way, I'm not really sure where the light's coming from, but if the light's coming down this way or this way, you'll know that it's either this face or this face that gets the most light. So that's how you know where to place shadows. And that's how you know how to contour and around which angle to contour and where to place those lights. And that's how your image will look more and more realistic. You'll also be able to read references better. References will be more accessible to you because you'll see the form structure under the flower that you're looking at. You'll see a form structure or a form study in that broken down washing machine. You'll be able to look at it and be able to wrap your head around the basic form so that you can just jump in, throw some basic shades, and then start detailing. And even details, even embroidery, those if you have like a a collar and there's like embroidery around it. Even this is a form study because there are sides. When the light is shining, there are sides that get some light and sides that get some shadow. And look, is this not reading already to you guys? Does this not look like embroidery on a piece of cloth? This is called line efficiency, and that's something else that form adds. So form studies help you decide where to place light. Where to light. They make you read references better. References readable. And they improve line efficiency. Okay, so not being able to, I'm sorry, but I see it like this. Not being able to form is like the cancer in art. And if anybody here ever was sick and they told you, okay, this miracle pill is going to come and fix all of this, and all you got to do is just take this miracle pill, would you not take it if it promised this much improvement? Doing form studies is the miracle pill. It makes you get images that read faster. This reads very quickly. This reads to me as embroidery. This isn't going to be something that's going to read as leaves. I'm not going to see this as leaves. I'm going to see this as what it is. Form studies also tell you where to place light. So is that not the question? How do I light? Where do I place the light and the shadow? Is this not the ultimate question, to be or not to be, of art? Where do I place the light? Where do I place the shadow? Form studies help you develop a knowledge of where to place light and shadow and have an instinct for that. So please don't forget that form studies are just that's what you got to be doing if you're not doing anything else. If you're not drawing, if you don't feel like sketching, do a form study. It's something that you're always going to have to do. It's something that I make all my private students do. There's every single piece of homework I ever give them comes with a form study. Because if I'm not making them improve in that way, what am I making them improve in? Alright? So where to light, making references readable, and improving line efficiency is your way to becoming an advanced artist. Is your way for improving the way you draw. And honestly, if you get anything out of my sessions, it's this. If I teach you anything and you remember anything, it's form. You write anything on if you see my grave and you see a cube on my grave, you'll know that's me. Right? This is my legacy right here. Okay? This is what I needed when I was young. This is why I'm so passionate about it. Because I made all the mistakes, guys. I went into school and I fucked up and I wasted money and I didn't study properly and I took too long to improve and I'm the one who's without the. I really have a big rut in my art right now. You guys might probably think I'm not. They probably think I'm just some art god. I'm not. I have a lot of issues with my art studies and my art motivation and my inspiration. I got a lot of that crap going on. But if I learned anything in all of those challenges, it's what I'm teaching you guys right now. Believe me because I've been there. Don't just believe me just because I heard it from someone else. All right? Okay. So I'm just going to leave this here and send this back to you. For this piece, I have 10 minutes left, so I might be able to cover that. Istebrak Cube is her full name. She probably is a cube. I probably am a cube. Ista, what form studies do you think are the best to start with? Sanafically asks. Cubes. Draw some cubes, because the cube is this mascot, the poster child for form. Because in this cube you see the actual mathematics. You see the x, y, and z axis. That's where you see it. The more cubes you do, the more bored you'll get of cubes. The more sophisticated they'll start to look. You'll start to do these weird looking shapes. But look, lo and behold, there's another z-axis. You can do the craziest polygon you've ever seen in your whole life. That has all kinds of surfaces and has weird little areas. But again, lo and behold, z-axis. The z-axis is always going to be there. Doing the cube first leads you into the z-axis very safely, very happily, so that you don't end up, sorry about the red marker, you don't end up skipping you do form studies, but you probably do them wrong if you don't know why you're doing them. Do cubes first, and then push on. That way when you look at a cube, when you look at an arm next time, you look at a finger, you're going to see the cube in the finger, and you're going to know where to place the light, and how to make it read much quicker. Alright, because you'll be missing someone's profit. Surely what's happening? Cube is her full name. Stop it. The common companion cube speaks. So this is why I shall teach my 12-year-old sister. She really wants to get into drawing now. Yeah, my face and oh my god. It's the cube that actually reads. That's really great, Edo. Please do. Teach her how to draw some basic mechanics, some basic architecture, and then show her, lead her into it very safely, how a face and a head has a cube in it. And then she'll be like, oh, so that she'll have an early sort of exposure to this sophisticated way of drawing. And that's good. It's always start early. I wish somebody made me start early. That would have been really good for my art, but alas, I learned the hard way. Yes, they're hard, Bass, but they're worth it, and they'll eventually get easy. But you do them very well, Bass Animation. It's not like they're hard and you failed. Your form studies are great. Just remember that stuff I taught you last time. Okay, so I have 7 minutes now. Probably can't answer questions and critique at the same time, so I have to choose one. The biggest issue with this is the eyebrow. I mean, there's women who have this and get away with it, and that's fine. Just remember that the eyebrow, what comes first, the eyebrow or the eyebrow bone? The eyebrow bone, obviously. So you need to make sure that the eyebrow sits around the shadows already there. There are some shadows that need to be preserved. Just because you draw a pencil brow like this doesn't mean that this pencil brow isn't subject to heightened illumination and value under areas of the eyebrow that are facing the light. Doesn't mean that this part of the eyebrow is going to be darker than any other part of the eyebrow, because that's where the brow bone starts to descend into the valley. Alright? All of this stuff doesn't mean that under this brow there is no illumination, because that illumination basically isn't attached to brow, and it could be enhanced makeup, because she's wearing a slight amount of makeup. Slight? Not really. That travels all the way up above the brow, down under the brow, and on the brow, illuminating the brow. Right, these are things you cannot avoid, and these are things, again, that you learn how to form. Just learning that there's high points and low points, hills and valleys, edges where the contour lines descend. They go down. This down movement means light that travels only in straight lines does something. I was like, oh crap, oh no, I have no more land. Let me just do a quick jump. This quick jump that it does, this lack of land to touch, casts a shadow. So the light travels here, skips this whole area because of this dip. It doesn't wrap. If it bends, we'd never have shadows. And for those who say that it does bend, that's another whole thing. That's like black holes and space and shit like that. So don't worry about that stuff. Just it doesn't bend, alright? Straight vectors, straight lines. The hand is small, yes, absolutely. Compared to the face, it's small. You also need some more work on detailing. So you're adding detail that should be preserved for the top. You should not be having tiny little lines used for areas that are not the focal point. Alright, and that's it for today. But thanks everyone for coming, and have a great day. Bye-bye.